Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning to my colleagues. I am speaking today in favor of Mr. Simpson's common sense amendment. Thank you for your leadership on this issue, very, very important to my constituents in Iowa, the farmers and the ranchers who feed and fuel the world. The discussion around waters of the U.S., WOTUS, has been problematic for years. This administration believes that every single drop of water in the country should be subject to these overreaching federal regulations, even down to what our farmers describe as the puddles and the ditches on our family farms in Iowa. And these discussions are many times taking place by government employees who've never set foot on these family farms. And if they'd had stepped foot on these farms, I think they'd know what I know, having been out visiting the district, that our farmers are the best stewards of their land. They know how to best manage their resources, not the government. Farmers care more about the quality of their water, their soil, and their crops more than the government does. It's in their best interest to do that. They're passionate about keeping their waters clean and healthy, not only for our environment, but again, this is about sustaining their family's farmland for generations to come. But instead of understanding and trusting in our farmers, the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers instead want to impose these strict and impractical regulations, just like the Obama administration did. So I wanted to bring up a little visual aid today to conceptualize what kind of an impact this actually has on my state in Iowa. So this map shows the federally regulated lands if we were to revert to the Obama era WOTUS. The tiny little white specks on this map here are the areas, the only areas that would be free of federal regulation. The red, as you can imagine, are the areas that would be regulated. So 97% of Iowa, 97% would be subject to these federal regulations under Obama-era's WOTUS. So Mr. Simpson's amendment is common sense. We are waiting for the Supreme Court to hear more about the Sackett versus EPA case. The outcome of this case will determine the definition of waters of the United States. So there's no reason that the EPA should announce a rule prior to that case hearing and that decision. So we shouldn't let farmers get stuck in this political back and forth here. This is not a game. WOTUS rulemaking changes how farmers do their jobs. It impacts their long-term planning, their bottom lines, and this amendment would ensure that our farmers aren't a victim of the regulatory whiplash, that back and forth, and that the EPA doesn't release a new WOTUS ruling before, again, that Supreme Court case is decided. So I'd urge my colleagues to vote in favor of this common sense amendment for the sake of our farmers, the stability of our food supply, and the ultimate good of our farmland from the environment. And I would encourage you all to look at your states and see what this map would look like for you. With that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
Are there any other